Hi, this is Monet Spells conducting a usability test on myself of philosophy. So from the main page, in my first look at it, it looks like there are higher philosophical questions posed. I can tell that they're ranked in some way. So the first one is how the universe began. It looks like the answers are possibly posed by these people, indicated by the end of the quote. Looks like they are famous philosophers. Oh, I recognize that name, so maybe anyone can submit an answer to these questions. I wonder where the questions are posed. So let's try to find that out. So it looks like there are 14 questions total, and so if I click on something, what question is missing? It looks like this is where people can pose additional questions. Yeah, but I want to go back to the beginning and start. Okay, so how did the universe begin? Let's click on this and see. Oh, so I can filter by classical philosophers, or I can get the public's opinion, which is a cool way to filter. So how did the universe begin? With a big bang. I wonder what okay, so if I click on something like a quote, an answer, then it looks like I can reuse it. I wonder in which case I'd want to reuse it or bookmark it. I'm assuming saving for later. And I think this is a total of how many times it's been reused and bookmarked total, even though there's not a plus sign, but I assume those are the two sums. I can start a discussion based on this answer. I can see in what context it's been reused. However, this one in particular hasn't been reused, so I'll go find one that has. And this also hasn't been bookmarked, so maybe I found a bad example. Okay, let's click this one. So it's been reused 3 times and bookmarked 4 times for a total of 34. So maybe that's shorthand for understanding how many times it's been reused or bookmarked, the 3 in the 10 space and the 4 in the single space. But these are some other things where it's being discussed, timestamps, which is helpful to get some context on how current these conversations are. I can find out some reuses. It looks like these are maybe people's profiles and ways that they've reused it. I recognize this 14 from the main page, so I guess that these are the 14 questions that are always asked. And let's try to find out why these are highlighted. So the light green ones correspond to these light green. The teal one, looks like one that maybe this user answered. So I recognize this name from the main page, so maybe the green ones are answers that he reused, and the teal one is one that he created himself, and the gray ones are ones that he hasn't answered yet. So if I click on a main question, I come back to this browse all where I can see all of the answers to these questions. I'm going to show classic philosophers and see what I can find by everything written by Charles Darwin. And it looks like Charles Darwin hasn't answered a few of these questions, and he has the dark teal circles, but I don't understand why he doesn't have any light green circles. Though I guess we said that the light green circles were when you reused answers from other people to answer questions, and the dark green circles is when you gave your own content. And I imagine that Charles Darwin can't quite give his permission these days to see what other answers he'd prefer. Okay, I wonder who's curating this for these historical philosophers, if they're finding answers on the internet and then matching them to these questions, but okay. So the philosophers, everyone, classics, and friends. I can sort them, most fresh at the top, most senior. It seems to me that most popular and most senior might be the same thing. I'm assuming if I created an account right now that I'd be the most fresh because I'm the newest. Looks like I can view two different ways by their profile, and maybe this is a profile picture, and then their top question. Or I can view a grid view where I just see everyone, though this doesn't give me any context on their top questions or what things they've answered, just their picture. So I'm imagining that all these dark teal are sample colors that you can get from Philozophy, and these designed ones are ones that they've uploaded, and the gray ones must be ones where they say they don't want any picture associated. Okay, I see a handful of classical philosophers, a handful of what appear to be users. I wonder who friends are. Oh, okay, friends on Facebook. So this is the social component, so you can see how this is integrated with Facebook to begin discussions there. And then I can search for someone. I only know Sophia from having an account, so let's see if I search her what happens. Maybe I can only search Facebook friends. Oh. Oh, I see. I have to filter, and then I can search. Okay, so the search doesn't apply to all of these categories, just the one. That makes sense. So if I click on someone's account, so before I scroll down, I'm going to guess that Sophia has answers to all 14 questions, that these 12 dark teal circles mean that she has answered them herself, and the 2 light green ones mean that she has copied an answer from somewhere else. This is her profile and a website. Okay, so these are her questions, her answers, and then 11 and 12 are the 2 that she borrowed from someone, and yep, it looks like that's right. The convention we had earlier of the reuse being the 10 space and the bookmark being the 2 space is being duplicated again here, so I'm assuming that that's right. Let's click on it and see where that takes us. It looks like it just takes us to a zoomed in version of this particular answer and any discussions or places where it's been reused, anytime, or people who have bookmarked it. If I click specifically on bookmark, it's going to ask me to log in or create an account. And if I reuse it, I assume the same would happen, correct? Okay. If I contact, it takes me to a Twitter account. Okay, so in summary, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Philozophy is a site to get people talking about philosophical topics, such as how the universe began, the differences between good and evil, free will, freedom, happiness, and things. These things can be discussed by posing your own answers, creating an account, posing an answer, or pulling from philosophers' ideas, like the Albert Einsteins and the Da Vinci's of the world. It looks like the philosophers' content is being pulled from somewhere. I'm assuming an admin goes through and finds quotes and assigns them to different questions, and regular people can take that philosophy and adopt it and add it to their profile as something that they reused or bookmarked, or they can pose their own and be philosophers of their own and create new answers to these questions. It looks like there are the 14 questions, so you know, these are the standard 14 questions that will always be asked. You can reuse and bookmark things, and this is a denotion of how many times it's been reused or bookmarked. And yeah, thank you. This is my usability test of philosophies.